Last year, I brought you the goods. I didn't chase trends, clicks, views, outrage, or gossip. In 2026, let me be clear. I'm bringing you the best of news education, commentary, analysis, advocacy for strong ethical leadership in our nation, and most of all, situations that we find in mainstream media, solutions. Again, the goal is not noise, gossip, outrage, or clickbait. The goal is news education for our elevation. That means clarity, insights, analysis, looking at leadership in our nation. Are they doing it right or are they getting it wrong? And what can we learn from it? Welcome to the Creative Leadership Network, known as TCLN, where education is the specialty and solutions are the art. And solutions are the art. My name is IBK Washington. I am the founder and executive producer of TCLN Network. I didn't start TCLN because I wanted to be famous or because I wanted to participate in noise online. I knew that in this nation, we were headed in a direction that wasn't bringing us together, that wasn't making us better. I started TCLN because I saw that something was missing. And that something missing is an opportunity to use news as a tool for education. That's right, using news as a tool for education. Many people say that news is negative. Right here at TCLN, I don't believe that news is negative. I believe that news is positive. It's what we do with the information that we receive. News can be positive. It can be a vehicle that we can use to educate, equip, and empower us to move from the situations that we hear about in the media to finding solutions that help heal us and our communities, make us better in the United States of America. See, I realize that journalism, what we call news reporting, is actually information that is given unto the people so that they can self-govern. That is the core ideology of journalism, making sure that we provide people with information so that they can self-govern. What I realize is that we've gotten far away from that in this nation. In order for us to self-govern, we first have to educate ourselves. What do I mean by education? Do I mean that we sit in a classroom? Do I mean that we twiddle our fingers and we learn A, B, C, D, E, F, G? No. I simply mean that when we're granted facts from our mainstream media, what do we do with those facts? What do we learn about those facts? How do those facts relate to us every single day? And how do we apply them to our personal life, our professional careers, and to our communities so that we can be better and do better? According to Gallup Knight Foundation, a report was done, and 43% of Americans see news or view news as negative. 33% see it as positive, and 23% see it as neutral. Another Gallup report states that 31 to 36% of Americans say that they trust the media. In newer polls, it's even fewer than that. It drops down to 28%, meaning about 64 to 72% of Americans express low or no trust in mainstream media or in the news altogether. According to a YouGov survey, Americans say that news make them feel informed, but 22 to 43% state that it makes them feel angry, anxious, cynical, nervous, or overwhelmed and depressed. Fewer than 20% actually believe, according to YouGov, that news is actually positive, that it makes them motivated or hopeful. Of course, I wanted to know why. So here are some of the reasons why Americans feel the way that they do. Number one, they perceive bias and lack of objectivity in news. Number two, low confidence in accuracy of our news. Transparency and trust issues in news outlets because they feel that news outlets have money that is involved, but also that they have corporate interests that are involved. So that is some of the reasons. But how many of us know that it runs a little bit deeper than that, right? So, of course, as a founder of TCLN, I said to myself, Why would news make me feel upset? Why would any news, why would any information that somebody gave me make me feel depressed or make me feel upset? Have you ever been going in life and somebody come bring you some news or somebody say something and then all of a sudden your whole mood changes? Well, I understand why. Because what happens is that when we are fed information, right? And that information we don't understand or it hasn't been communicated with clarity, it could be various of reasons why. It could be a lot of death, too much death being reported. It could also be too many negative situations. And the problem is not what's being reported. The problem is what are we doing with the information? That's why we have overload information today, or what we like to call information overload. We keep getting informed, we keep getting information, and it just piles up and piles up and piles up and piles up. Therefore, people begin to not want to hear it anymore. It's just too much information. And let me tell you why. Because when we get so much information and we don't break it down, we don't analyze it, we don't use it in a positive mean to help us grow and to help us get better, then that's when we become stagnant. That's when we're not self-governing anymore. And that's when we're not becoming leaders, not only in our own households, but also in our communities, and we're not moving forward as we should. It becomes exactly what we've been seeing lately in mainstream media and online. Arguments, partisan fights, it becomes so negative that we literally stop moving forward because we're not using the information that we are getting from mainstream to our advantage. Right? And that's what TCLN Network saw. It saw an opportunity to not look at news as negative, but to look at news as a tool where we can educate ourselves, where we can elevate ourselves, where we can say, what is this story actually saying? And how does it relate to me? And what can I do to make my life better from it? Therefore, making our communities better for it. That is what you call self-governing. That's getting back to self-governing. Self-governing is basically leadership. You see, when I first started this channel, I was actually in Burbank, California. And I said, well, let me start me a channel. I love to talk. I love to educate. I see all of these critical issues that are going on, all of these stories in the media. Let me talk about the things that I enjoy talking about, talk about these critical issues, right? So I named it the Critical Line Network. But then I overheard a young lady. This is what I mean by growth and taking information and using it so that we get better and become better. So I heard a young lady and she stated, do not name your companies, your businesses, or your YouTube channels for where you see it at, for where you are at right now. She said, name it for where you envision it becoming. And I was like, that's interesting, you know. So then I thought about it, right? Where do I envision TCLN Network? So if I was going to do news commentary, news education, taking stories in mainstream, educating, make sure we're breaking it down, make sure we understand what the topic is about, what is going on, and how we make it applicable, then I knew, how do I make this channel a name where we all fit in? Well, I know the bottom line of journalism. The bottom line of journalism and news is to make sure that the people are informed so that they can self-govern. That is the whole thing. Giving you the facts, the information, so that you can understand what is going on, not only in your communities, but in your world, right? So I said, okay, I'm going to take it from the Critical Line Network to the Creative Leadership Network. I wanted to keep TCLN. I love that. TCLN. It's just a little catchy and a little trendy. So I said, okay, if I want to keep that, how do I arrange it? So I thought about it. Creative, right? We got all the creatives online today. We got creatives everywhere exploding. So I make sure that I wanted to talk to the creativeness inside of people. When I'm educating, when I'm doing commentary, it's stirring up that creative person in you, that creative voice, that creative vision, making us think again. And then I thought about it, self-governing, that's leadership. That's leadership at its finest. So then the C went from critical to creative, and the L went from line to leadership. Therefore, you have the Creative Leadership Network. Guys, I'd like to welcome you. If this sounds like this is interesting to you, hey, don't forget to stop right now and subscribe. Just take a moment, subscribe. Also, make sure you hit that notification bell. When you hit the notification bell, make sure you go in and you hit all notifications because I drop content every single Wednesday at 4 p.m. so that you can stay not just informed, but educated, equipped, and elevated. This is what I call education for our elevation. Look, I am not going to promise you that I'm going to chase every headline. I'm going to chase every news story. I'm going to chase gossip columns or talking about people or talking about people's personal proclivities and all those kind of things. No, that's not what I'm going to do here at TCLN. I do not promise you that. I do promise you that TCLN would do its best to make sure that the news that I take out of mainstream media, whatever topic, whatever headline, or whatever story I decide to cover for that week, that it will be a piece that I will use to educate us so that we can elevate and that we can explore solutions that help us get better and be better. And most of all, again, get back to the root of what real journalism is. All about information so that the people can be able to self-govern. That means becoming leaders of your own life and not just your life, whatever your endeavors that you choose to do in this lifetime, your career, your business, or whatever, that you will also become leaders in that area, doing your best, being your best, and inspiring others to do the same also. So if you are ready for a new type of news, a new type of journalism, one, again, that educates to elevate, simply taking topics, educating ourselves, equipping ourselves, and seeing how we can apply that to our lives, then this is the channel for you. Don't forget, again, to subscribe. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and right here on YouTube. And for those of you who love to financially support people that you feel that is doing good work, of course, everything is in the description. You can support me at paypal.me/TCLN Network. You can also support me on Cash App at TCLN Channel Podcast. And just in case you haven't checked out the first video for this year coming in 2026, the name of that video is Barry Weiss. The name of that video is Barry, CBS News, and Erica Kirk, the town hall meeting. Of course, as you know, CBS started their time and end of the year discussing moving forward how they can become better themselves. So the link is right there in the description of this video. Let's get started, y'all, and let's start this new year, 2026, right.